Hello, everybody. Just want to make a video about some things that I found out about Freemasonry. And of course, this is all related to the Illuminati. And I would recommend, if you're religious or not, to do some research on that little group of very powerful people and what their agenda is and how it ties into these high mind control groups. And Freemasonry is one of them. But I am reading notes that I took mainly from a book called 33 Degrees of Deception. And the book is written by Tom C. McKinney. And the book is written about a former Freemason who came to Christ after he found out just what the masonry is all about. And I just want to give some notes because so much of this stuff just sounds so familiar to Freemasons. To me, I think everybody needs to know. Um, the first thing I wanted to go over was how that they said that the Freemasonry membership has declined to such a degree in recent years that some lodges now promote via podcast, commercials, video blogs, etc., for potential candidates, kind of like the JW podcast is doing for Jehovah's Witnesses. Masonic lodges are also referred to as Masonic halls, as are Kingdom halls. Their lodges have meeting rooms like the Kingdom halls do, where their talks are given. They don't look anything like a church, nothing spiritual about them. They're like a college classroom type of atmosphere. And the Masons also put on dramas when they are preparing to advance to the next degree within the Masons. They do dramas. The more experienced Masons do the dramas, just like Jehovah's Witnesses do. Masons are turned inactive when they stop attending meetings, as are Jehovah's Witnesses. Masons teach salvation by works and not by grace, just like Jehovah's Witnesses do. They pray, but they cannot use the name of Jesus. There's no Christ or Jesus Christ in their hymns. And any place Jesus' name is in the scriptures that they use, they omit the name. Um, there's a secret book that was written by, I think his name is, can't remember now, but I'll look it up and put the name in the description field along with this book. It's called Morals and Dogmas, which is, I tried to find a copy to buy, but it was like $300. So it's something that only Freemasons are supposed to see. Actually, the upper, like in the 33 degrees range, are supposed to know. And it's just like it reminds me of the Jehovah's Witnesses Secret Elders Manual. Masons teach that Jesus is neither divine, unique, nor inspired, and they deny that Jesus is Lord. They deny him as Lord. And this is something interesting. I don't know if even you've ever been to a Aladdin Shriner circus or seen ads about their burn unit or, oh, there's some other things. But Shriners are Masons, whether they admit to it or not. And they are the show army of Masonry. I mean, this is the division that the Masons are most proud of. And they're also they party more than any of the other divisions of the Masons. The Masons have home temples, just like Jehovah's Witnesses have home kingdom halls. And I guess if you live in a certain area, that's the kingdom hall you have to attend. This is another very interesting thing. They have a ceremony the Thursday before Easter to commemorate the snuffing out of the life of Jesus. But during the whole ceremony, they never mentioned Jesus's name. And the author said all he could say, it was just very black. It was very dark. It was like they were, mocking his death. It's kind of like the memorial supper does when they pass the symbolic emblems of the body and blood of Christ and you reject them instead of partaking in them. You just can't leave the Masons. You have to submit a letter, which they called a demit. It's DEMIT, and it's the same as a disassociation letter, like Jehovah's Witnesses have to write if they want to leave. Masons shun those who leave the organization. Jim Shaw and his wife, when they left, when he found Christ, the Masons would not speak to him. Them, their wives, anybody that was still a Mason would not speak to them once they left the organization. When the Jim Shaw's uncle was a Mason until he died, and when he tried to get him to accept Jesus as his Lord, the uncle yelled at him and said, "Don't you realize that Masonry is the same as Jesus Christ?" In other words, he's telling him he didn't listen to anything. And the Masons, the rank and file Masons, believe they are doing the right thing to be pleasing in the sight of the, this is in quote, great architect of the universe. That is their generic God that they worship. And like I say, rank and file Masons, Freemasons, are just as deceived as the rank and file of Jehovah's Witnesses, at least those who haven't woken up yet. The Masons call anybody who is not a Mason profane, and that is spelled Profane. It's I would say it's just the same as Jehovah's Witnesses calling worldly people or apostates. Women are not treated as equal. Actually, they have their own division of the Masons called the Eastern Star, and I think I read, don't quote me on this, but they're not even allowed in the halls when they're having their meetings and things. It's very secretive. And this is one of the Masonic doctrines. Redemption is a matter of self-improvement, morality, and good works, including obedience to the Masons' obligations. And they have in parentheses a death oath which they take, and all higher Masonic authorities. Faith in the atonement of Jesus has nothing to do with it. It is rather a matter of enlightenment, step by step, which comes with initiation into the Masonic degrees and their mysteries. And they are a very mysterious organization. So basically, they say Masonry, and this is what they kind of boils to this, is Masonry is a system that confuses, deceives, and controls men, getting them to do things that they would not do if they understood them. And to me, that's exactly what is happening, what the Watchtower is doing to Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is really bad. I know that there's been a lot of back and forth, agree and disagree about there being phallic symbols, penises in cartoons and even in Watchtower's cartoons. Well, they're there, and they're there for a reason. Actually, Walt Disney was a 33-degree Mason. And this is what it says. This is the true reason for Masonry's historic exclusion of women is probably rooted in the occult. Since the true meaning, and in parentheses they have esoteric, hidden, meaning of Masonry's rituals and symbols is phallic, based on the ancient worship of the sun, and since its rays were thought of as a phallic penetrating the passive earth, female, from above and causing the earth to conceive and bring forth new life. And since the phallus is a piece of reproductive equipment God didn't issue to women, they couldn't participate in the symbolic impregnation. This being the case, a woman cannot be made a Mason simply because a woman cannot be made a man. And again, for those of you that don't know, a phallus isn't a penis in its erect state. And I've seen them in Walt Disney movies. I've seen them, and these are all kid movies, and I've seen them in Watchtower videos. They're there. And it's, like I said, once your eyes are open to these things, and I watched cartoons all my life, never saw these things. but I'm seeing them now. And it's not just that, it's 666, pyramids, triangles, one eye cartoon characters in a lot of different cartoons. Simpsons is one of them, you know, Kang and Kodos, the aliens. And uh, SpongeBob has Plankton. Of course, he's the bad guy. He's got one eye. You'll start noticing them once you realize that they're there or that someone has told you they're there. Masons swear to conceal the crimes of other Masons, as do Jehovah's Witnesses. They try to keep their crimes in house and act as judge, jury, and executioner instead of going through the justice system as you should. And Masons, by taking his oath of obligation, the Mason puts himself in the position of swearing to put his loyalty into the lodge above all other commitments of loyalty, as the Jehovah's Witnesses want you to, you know, quit your job so you can do more time and do more service time, and you get the picture. And I always knew this, but I knew that the triangle had Masonic symbolism, but it is in the higher degrees of Masonry. We're talking about 32nd, 33 degrees. The triangle is the most important of all symbols, and you'll see a lot of those in shows once you get on to the Illuminati and how they use these different organizations to infiltrate what they want to see happen in society in the future, and has everything to do with being able to control everybody and have everybody agree with what they say. A Grand Lodge or Grand Orient is the governing body of Freemason subordinate lodges in a specific geographical area, which is called a jurisdiction. In Freemasonry, the God, and this is a small g, of the secret societies is covertly substituted for the one true God. This false God is identified in the Masonic lodges as the Great Architect. That's their generic God. Freemasonry teaches that due, and that's D-U-E, paying Freemasonry and good works alone is one's guarantee for heaven, without any intervention needed by Jesus Christ. That's kind of exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses do. If you pay your dues, make your contributions, donations, whatever, and do good works, you don't need Jesus Christ. Just don't need it. And this is a quote that I found on another site. I'm not sure. I've got so many of them bookmarked now. I lose track of what it was. But this guy, who was also a former Mason, said, it's just a quote of some things about Freemasonry. Through drugs and occult, they practice opening the third eye, which, when opened completely, flooded their brains with pure consciousness of Lucifer himself, which is Satan's counterfeit of the Christian being born again. He says one would then look at the world and people as Satan does. And JW Fairy Tale, that one's for you, buddy. The third eye and Prince, there you go. So, again, I say, you know, this is just not for religious people. It's for everybody. Do some research on the Illuminati. Do some research on the Freemasons and see how it all ties together with control and mind control, and how things are infiltrated into movies and into the music industry, the symbols, the symbolism. It's there and hidden in plain sight, as they say. So thanks again for watching, and I will be talking to you again soon. Bye.